axle comes down across me, and it just crushes me flat all the way across.
We were clearing villages that had known Taliban fighters. Could be somebody standing on the other side with an AK-47.
I was thinking, why is the house moving?
My house was off the foundation. It was actually in the air.
I saw an angel, and I saw him with my own eyes.
Stay with me, man.
And then on each side were these huge angels.
These are the miraculous true stories of those who believe they've been delivered from tragedy by the angels among us.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Our history is filled with accounts of angels appearing to humans in extraordinary times of need. Over the next hour, we'll hear from 3 people who encountered this divine intervention firsthand. In fact, they believe they're alive today because of it. Beginning with Bruce Natta, a family man and hard-working mechanic who experienced something almost beyond belief.
Wisconsin natives Bruce and Lori Van Natta have been a couple for nearly half their lives. In fact, some might say they were destined to be together.
Bruce and I have known each other for 17 years. I always had a crush on him all through high school. So when he asked me out, I was like very excited. I went home and I was just like, woohoo!
Eventually, the two got married and started a family. A family that has since grown to include their 4 children and dog Daisy.
Family is like everything for us. For me personally, my relationship with my wife and my kids are the most important things to me.
To provide for his large family, Bruce runs his own mobile mechanics business.
I won't be late tonight.
It's a job that on November 16th, 2006, takes him far into the country.
November 16th, it was the 3rd day of a 3-day project, working on a logging truck. It was just my job to get the engine running.
Start it up, let's see what happens.
We just finished up and I'm putting my tools away. What I'm thinking about is going home, eating warm supper, and being able to pack up because I'm gonna leave the next day to go deer hunting.
That's a lot, man. Yeah, of course.
The man I was working with walks up and says, before you leave, if you could do one more thing.
I think that's an oil leak.
Oh, really?
Could you actually check that out?
He'd said it was an oil leak.
Right at sea.
And he just wanted me to diagnose it. I wasn't gonna fix it at that point or anything, just trying to figure out where it was coming from.
Let me roll underneath, see what we got.
And I'm thinking to myself, you know, that's just gonna take me a couple minutes. I'm a trained professional. Thought I'd be right out the door. I laid down his creeper and I began to slide feet first underneath this bumper in the front of the truck. Looked up, I saw there had been no safety equipment put underneath the axle. It was just this jack. 10,000 to 12,000 pounds of weight just being held up by the jack. I had not done that portion of the job, but it wasn't the first time I'd been underneath an axle that the only thing that was holding it up was a bottle jack. So it wasn't, you know, that far out of the normal. I stopped and I said to him, why don't you jump up inside the cab, check the engine temperature? He gets in the truck, kind of shifts. That truck had been on that jack for 3 days. It had been running, the engine had been running for 20 minutes, and had never moved for 3 days. But still, I wasn't thinking about it. In the peripheral vision of my left eye, I see movement. Oh, crap. The axle comes down across me like a blunt guillotine. And it just crushes me flat all the way across. Incredible pain. I never had felt any kind of pain like this before. Blood immediately splatted from the inside out and hit the roof of my mouth from in my stomach. My mind went to, this is really bad. And I just called out, Lord, help me. I said it twice. The guy jumped out of the truck. And I'm looking in his eyes. He was starting to go into shock. He's seeing me crushed in half, and he panicked and he froze.
Call 911! Call 911!
All of a sudden, he shook out of it, ran back, called 911. I knew I needed help. I knew that the medical people needed to get me to a hospital as soon as possible, and they needed to do something because I was hurt.
But with the closest ambulance 30 minutes away, it's up to volunteer first responder Shannon Sela to field the call.
Hi, this is Shannon.
The call went out that there was a man who was pinned under a truck.
Okay, meet you in the curb in 5 minutes.
Based on the call alone, I knew this was going to be extremely serious. You're talking about internal bleeding, internal damage. Someone pinned under a truck may be dead when you arrive.
Back at the garage, it's a frantic struggle to jack the behemoth off of Bruce's body.
I got you. Come on. Bruce, stay with me, man.
The last thing I remember before I went unconscious is my spirit is up in the ceiling, maybe 15 feet, looking down from above.
Stay with me, man.
All I can see is this guy is hurt down there.
Stay with me, Bruce. Bruce!
Next thing that hits me is, oh crap, I'm the guy that's underneath this truck. I'm the one that's hurt.
Bruce! Stay with me, man. Come on.
And then it's almost like the view was drawn back. On each side of them were these huge angels. There was a light, a glow emanating off of both of them. It wasn't like I watched them fly from anywhere. It was just, they were like there. I realized, man, I must be right on the verge of life and death.
Next, angels watch over Bruce as EMTs fight to save his life.
He didn't appear to be breathing. It looks like he's already gone.
And later,
I was thinking, why is the house moving?
a little girl's terrifying encounter with Mother Nature's fury. Plus,
I didn't hear anything until my granddad woke me up.
I want you to wake up. Wake up!
Soldier Ethan Anderson's blessing on the battlefield. Bruce Van Natta was crushed under the axle of a 10,000-pound truck. In horrible pain, he sees angels and realizes he's on death's door. Moments later, volunteer first responder Shannon Sela arrives on the scene.
My first impression was that he was dead. He had ashen skin, his eyes were closed, didn't appear to be breathing. It looks like he's already gone. If one of the major arteries in the abdominal area is severed, you can die extremely quickly. Those are the biggest veins that you have.
Can you hear me?
But with paramedics capable of providing advanced care still 15 minutes away, there's only so much she can do.
We didn't have the equipment for a medical emergency.
Bruce, hey.
But, you know, you gotta try.
Come on, Bruce.
I said, Bruce, you know, are you there?
Bruce, come back, man. Come back to me.
She keeps getting louder and louder.
Come on, Bruce. Come on.
And I began to focus in on her.
Bruce, do you hear me?
And before I knew it, I'm looking at her eye to eye.
Good. Good, Bruce.
After that, I looked for those angels. But I couldn't see them with these eyes. And then it all comes back to me. I remember the truck falling on me. I remember all of it all just came back really quick.
He was trying to talk to me, and no words were coming out. He looked like a dead man talking.
And I just began to just like fade away. And I realized I was like at the point of dying. All of a sudden, I remembered Lori. I remembered the 4 children that we have together. I remembered how young they were. And so I decided at that point that I would not shut my eyes.
Good, good, good.
I'll fight for them.
Bruce continues holding on as paramedics arrive to race him to the trauma center.
And then I saw him off on the ambulance, and I said, Lord, help that poor man. I didn't expect to see him again.
The very last thing that I remember was this mask was coming down slowly above me. I'm thinking as I'm laying there, I could die. This could be it.
At the hospital, he's rushed into surgery where doctors are amazed to discover that 5 major arteries in his abdomen have been severed.
Severing up one major artery is a big deal, but a torso injury with 5 arteries is just something that's unthinkable. The chances of him making it were slim to none.
With Bruce in critical condition, his wife Lori arrives at the hospital.
Once I got there, I just knew there was an accident. I didn't know how bad it was.
I'm looking for my husband.
I never knew how serious his injuries were until our first contact with the doctors.
I'm not optimistic about the outcome.
The doctor was going, I've been doing this for 15 years or something. It was the worst case he had ever seen. I'm thinking, we are in biggest hospital for our state. We are dealing with the head doctor of the whole entire place, and he's telling me this is the worst he's ever seen.
Can I see it?
When I first got into Bruce's room and seen him for the first time, they had monitors and a ventilator. That's when I knew the severity of the accident. I was gonna have to have a conversation with the kids that Daddy wasn't gonna come home. That was the hardest. So I just stayed there and prayed every night and prayed every hour. Never left his side.
Then the day most experts agree should have never come. Bruce awakens from his coma.
Bruce! I'm gonna go get the doctor. Hang on. Oh my God.
If you talk to any of the members of the teams who cared for him, they say that it's nothing short of a miracle. From strictly a medical standpoint, there's no way he should have survived this injury.
The first thing I wanted to do when I came out of the coma was tell people about the angels. And I couldn't talk because I had tubes in my mouth. But once they did take the tube out, one of the first things I was able to say and tell them about was, I saw angels.
He was like, there was angels there. There was angels that saved me. He could just close his eyes and imagine them so vividly.
Don't talk, baby, don't talk.
But the worst is not behind the Van Attas. The majority of Bruce's small intestine has either died or been removed, and over the months, he begins to waste away.
At the point of the accident, I was 180. By February, I was already down to 120-some pounds.
It's down quite a bit.
One of the dietitians goes, you know, we can put you on this feeding tube. She goes, but you're only gonna do about a year.
That's when we found out that I didn't have enough intestine to live. I got angry. In fact, I got angry at God, and I couldn't understand why he would send angels to save my life at the initial accident, let me be miserable in the hospital on and off for a year, and then let me die anyway. I didn't understand it. It didn't make any sense to me at all.
Next, for the second time, Bruce is touched by a divine hand.
I felt electricity come out of his palm, into my forehead, right down into my body.
Then, a natural disaster spawns supernatural power.
The angel used his hands and wings to cover my grandmother.
Bruce Van Natta miraculously survived being crushed under a logging truck. But the damage to his intestines was so severe that doctors say he only has a year to live.
It's down quite a bit from last time.
And that's what they expected, for me to continue to lose weight until I died, until I starved to death.
And I'm like, you know what? I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing that God would have us do this, send angels to save your life, just to have you die. I don't believe it.
Just as they're about to give up all hope, Bruce and Laurie get a visit from a man they barely know, a man named Bruce Carlson.
There was a gentleman in New York that I had met one time, just outside of New York City, at this church this one time.
Hi, Bruce.
The guy put his palm on my forehead, and he just said a very short, small, powerful prayer. I felt electricity come out of his palm, into my forehead, right down into my body. And it felt like I touched an electric fence. And I could feel something moving inside of my stomach. It just felt like a snake came uncoiled inside my stomach.
What happens in the coming weeks defies medical explanation.
Come on up, Bruce, let's see.
My weight leveled off, and then my weight started to go up.
Incredibly, Bruce has grown back enough small intestine to fully sustain life.
The fact that Bruce's intestines regenerated automatically after an injury and a procedure of that sort is again, unheard of. It's nothing I've heard of in my professional career, and I would have no explanation for how that happened.
So that is basically the second miracle. The first miracle being that I didn't bleed to death. Second miracle being that his intestines came back.
Today, only Bruce's scars give away what he's been through. His is the only documented case in the world of someone surviving these specific injuries.
Bruce should not have made it to the hospital, and certainly should not have made it out of our ER alive, but he did, and by all accounts, it's an amazing story.
Since the accident, things are more precious. My relationships with my kids and my wife and other people are definitely more precious. There's no doubt in my mind that angels exist. It would be like asking me, do I have a right hand and a left hand? If I put them behind my back, I might not be able to see them, but I know they're real. It's the same with angels. There never can be any doubt for me that angels are real. They came and saved my life.
Ethan, Emily, and Bruce are now forever linked by their remarkable spiritual transformations. Though the trials they faced were different, they all experienced incredible miracles. Now, their uplifting tales of survival serve to inspire us all and to remind the world of the angels among us. I'm Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Thank you for watching. If you believe you've been saved by an angel and want to share your story, please contact us at angels@cmt.com.
Dad, look at our shadow.
No? Okay, I'll get it out of the way.
What is it?